Thank you. It's great to see you here. So I am a Nepali. I am a dual degree candidate studying development economics here at Harvard and MBA at MIT. My name is Kailash. I actually first thought of asking a development-related climate just, but I want to ask you a very personal question. So about quarter of our GDP comes from remittance. In 15 to 20 years, the country is going to go from young population to aged population. We're focusing so much on infrastructure, right? But what is the point of all that infrastructure, all that money, if all the Nepalis would have left the country and the country is just aged people? So what are 2 to 3 industries you're focusing on, or what is your exact focus? Election is coming in a few years. What is your exact focus to make sure Nepalis feel they want to stay in Nepal for that Nepal you're building? Thank you.
First, I want to tell that Nepal is not a country of old age people. Nepal is a country of 60% at least working people and 42% young population, youth. Until now, how many percent, what is the percentage of youths going outside, not only youths and others? Entire Nepali, how many Nepalis are there? There are 10-12%. And 42% young population we have. It doesn't mean that I am supporting to go outside to the youth. We are trying to contain our youth inside country and trying to make them happy, provide them job opportunity, inspiring them for entrepreneurship and new entrepreneurship and startup, etc. We are inspiring them too. And we are providing support from the government too, doing so many things. But we have to understand that countries do not move ahead at the straight line. And at the same line where one country moved, another country also moves at the same line. That's not the case. And for some time, our people, most of our people who are going outside for 3 years with work permission, and after 3 years they are coming back. And media says that 4,000 people per day are going out, and 4,000 people per day coming in, they don't talk about. That's the problem. Not only going out, because all the countries, no country permits for always for war. They permit for 3 years, 2 years, 4 years, not for always. So, they come back, they have to come back, and they are coming back as well. So, there are some sentimental statements and opinions, etc. It's not positive, and our economy should not be rely on remittances. Our economy should be rely on our own production. We are emphasizing on those production areas so that we can be self-reliant and we can bring our trade on balance and we can export our production and make the country rich. So, I want to request you to be clear about these things, that this is temporary phenomenon. They should not continue for always. And we are in the government. When I was Prime Minister at that time, in 1 year, 18% of the people who were going outside was dropped. 18% was dropped. Now, again, we are driving another campaign to hold our young generation, young people inside. And for education, you came here, what's the deficit? What's loss? You came here, you studied, and you go back to the country to provide well-educated service. Skilled work. Thank you.
Question is about transitional justice in Nepal. I still remember in 2015 when I was just in school and when the Constitution Day was implemented, there were widespread protests all around the country. A lot of people had to sacrifice their lives because they felt that the Constitution did not respect indigenous autonomy or regional aspirations for different groups. Now that we're trying to amend the Constitution, make it more acceptable for a wider section of the population, I'm curious why you think so many people sacrifice their lives for the Constitution that we laud so much today, and if publishing the Lal Commission, Lal Ayog report, which investigated the unjust use of police force during this protest, whether publishing that report is a step towards transitional justice or a more peaceful country in the future. Thank you.
Promulgation of the Constitution of new Constitution, the Constitution of 2015, was the essence of the achievements of our struggles, our sacrifices. Of course, there may be some lackings. The country was like a hot pot at that time. And everybody, whether understands or not, but was expert on the issue of Constitution. And says, this point must be included in the Constitution. And no one can convince him or her. That was the situation. In such a situation, we had to compromise to promulgate the Constitution out. And we are discussing, we have opened the discussions among the people. We are talking among the political parties. And for the political interest to distort the aims of the issue what we raised about the amendment of Constitution, that is another thing, different thing. But amendment of Constitution is a must. And Constitution is a amendable document. It is a living document. According to the benefit of the necessity of the nation, necessity of the people, demands of the people, and necessity of the time, we have to amend the Constitution and amend the laws as well. So, it is not for regression, it is for progress. Because as I mentioned before that, we two political parties, Nepali Congress and UML, are in the government. We have formed the government, coalition government, who brought Nepal from the dark era of Rana Marigaki to this democratic republic. And how we can go back. So, the question of amendment of the Constitution is not for going back or pulling back the country towards those old days, and not the people. And I think people will not tolerate all these things if we want to, if somebody wants to push the back the country. So the amendment of the Constitution issue is for the progress, prosperity, development, peace and harmony for that. And I want to tell one thing, that 2 times our Constitution is amended. When I was Prime Minister the first time also, I amended, I led the amendment. And second time also, I led the amendment of the Constitution. And it was about unanimous. So there will be no problem. Because we will discuss thoroughly, openly, with all sides, all political parties, and all sectors and segments of society, women rights, etc., etc., different groups. Sure, there will be no problem.
Namaste, sir. It's an honor to have you here. I asked this question from a personal space as an international student in USA since past 3 years. I'm a graduate of master's degree from Kathmandu University, and currently I'm pursuing my master's degree in Harvard Graduate School of Education. My question to you is that why does Nepal passively accept the narration and tags that has been given to us by international organizations and others? And why do we never show concern in tags like third world country or poor country when we are much more than that? Or even showing concerns to neighboring country's biggest Bollywood cinema, which has started to show us as the place for crime. Why do we never challenge these narrations, especially when we know that narrations like this has been shaping the perception around Nepalese and Nepal around the world? And I think a lot of students like me here can relate that ever since I've stepped into this country, we have been grappling against those stereotypes. So my question to you is, as a leader who has been leading this country and caring for its citizens, what would you do to step up and challenge this narration so that we Nepal and we Nepalese can truly stand and be known for the values that we truly hold and who we are authentically?
Namaste, Prime Minister.
Can you just speak a little closer?
Yeah. Namaste, Prime Minister. My name is Pravdi Kesi and I'm from Bhutan, Nepal. I have thousands of questions for you, but I want to limit it to one for now. In the past 15 years, we have had 13 governments. That is about 14 months per government. That's very unstable. It seems like we are not even in embryonic stage of democracy, but a pseudo-democracy. This, I feel, is one of the fundamental issues of our institution. My main question is, what if there has been any preparation for introducing term limits in our constitution and stability of our government? And if not, why? Because this seems to be a burning issue of our time. Thank you.
What are the questions?
The student over here was asking about stereotypes of Nepal that are in global media, Bollywood industry, here in the United States, and looking at also why Nepal does not push back on the narrative of donor aid, being a donor recipient, if I characterize that well, but how do you change, especially for the youth, you talked about your large youth population, how do you really give hope to the youth that they can see themselves as Nepalese, whether they're living in Nepal or globally differently? And then the gentleman over here was asking about, also on the Constitution. Do you want to quickly summarize that?
And term limits, because we have seen the similar faces again and again, but with limited time period.
In America?
No, term limits. Maybe our IOP colleagues can bring you back to debate some of our American politicians. But I think the student is asking, oftentimes what we do see in Nepal, especially in the prime ministership, the ministers, a lot of the political party leaders, they tend to be very similar faces. They tend to be of the same generation. Should you be considering term limits or other opportunities for new voices to also lead the country?
Yeah.
Is that fair? Okay.
You are a student of this university?
Yeah, I graduated, now I'm doing research.
Oh. First, if some youth come here to join this university as a student, shouldn't apply for dean, president, or rector, or professor of the university. Must apply for any student. Some faculty, I think. Similarly, politics is not a joke. There is a sentiment that people say, why these old faces are being repeated again and again, and we have to see again and again this. Okay, there is competition. This is democratic system. In marathon, you cannot say me that old guy, stop here. I want golden calf, so you cannot run with me. If you run, then I cannot win. That's not justice. You have to run with me, and if you go ahead, you can get. So, that is not the question of age. And for politics, if somebody cannot work like a young man, shouldn't like a young man, and or woman, shouldn't just desire to remain in this post or capture this post. But if somebody can work, I would like to inform you that if you are talking about me, then I would like to tell you that 18 hours at least per day I am working at. Still I am working. So, and I have not created any bar for anybody to compete me and compete others also. In our country there is democracy. Inside my party there is democracy. Inside in the parliament there is democracy. Democratically people can. And in many countries young people are not giving candidacy also. In our country young people also are giving candidacy, but in many countries I see young people are not even registering their candidacy. This is not the question of age. This is the question of working capability, working capacity, and physical and mental stage and strength. That depends on that. And our question was
On Nepal, how Nepalis are seen.
Stereotype of things are running in Nepal. That is the difference between the developed and undeveloped countries. Because, but I would like to tell you that we are also not so much backward, that we are far away, hundreds of miles back from the era. That's not true. The same mobile in America, in the UK, in Japan, in China, they use and we do. The same about cars. But we use cheap cars because we have no that much money to buy. So according to truth, we have to take the more. Otherwise it may kill us. So we are doing our best to change the situation. To drive into a new stage, economically, politically, and we don't want to bring any instability. There must be match between stability and progress. In politics, in economy, and other areas as well, in society. So, this is my opinion.